Oh, man, look at that. Look who's back on today's episode of PHNX Cardinals, and it's a doozy. All the signs pointing to a playoff berth in 2025 for the Redbirds, Johnny Venerable.
Who are you? What is this? PHNX Oh, okay, got it. PHNX Cardinals, I'm back, starts now. Hey, welcome in. Studio K. Presented by our friends at Circle K. Come on, no sleep, folks. Welcome in. It's the PHNX Cardinals Podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. I'm the returning Johnny Venerable, back from Maui, overnight flight. Prayers up for your boy.
Man,
he's Bo Brack, holding it down. Tremendous job, Bo and Noah, keeping it real. Cam Cox, Clancy, Donnie Druin, the whole gang. Phenomenal week of content. I enjoyed it from afar. Happy to be back.
because you're a sicko. Even when you're on vacation, you can't stay away. You won't stay away. Neither will all you fine folks. I see a rebel leader. How about Schaff? Johnny, we're wishing Schaff well. Had a procedure recently. He's on the mend.
Good.
Hopefully on the quick mend there. I see, let's see. Rebel leader. Yeah, Matt to the power of Joe. How about Mr. Fat Gangster? Bootsy. We got G. Willikers. Love that. The entire squad here on the Football Wednesday. 10 Sundays from Football Sunday. That's it. That's all. Sounds kind of nice when you break it down that way. But a big old show. And you're right. Like a cast of great fill-ins throughout. Tyler from Burn Gang Travel was great on the show. So it was. We missed you, but man, we had some fun while you were gone.
Yep. As Brian points out, I am back from the Prius factory. I'm here. I'm ready to rock and roll. Good to see you guys. And again, we're in the slums right now. We're slumming it here ahead of football season. We're hibernating, if you will. But we don't take time off. Well, technically we do, but we're back now, and we're here to talk ball, and I'm fired up. So much good stuff, by the way. TJ Watt, when's he getting traded to the Arizona Cardinals? Like I was thoroughly enjoying that concept, talking about the Cardinals making some upgrades maybe before training camp. But today we've got a banner show because I do feel like, and you're alluding to this with the show title a little bit, Mr. Brock, that the closer we get to the regular season, I feel like the more people are maybe paying attention to the Cardinals on paper, their roster, and the culmination of this rebuild. Like even before, and we're going to talk about PFF here in a second, I saw, was it The Athletic was doing like a thread on Twitter breaking down their top 32 teams, and like they're well into the teens, and the Cardinals haven't been listed yet, and they're going like reverse order, right? I think it was The Athletic. And I just feel like the more people look at this roster and are objective, they're just like, Cardinals 3-year rebuild done. They have a lot of good players. It's going to be very difficult for them to just not be competitive en route to the postseason.
This isn't a team where you have to squint really hard to make out a playoff team. This is a team where I think there are very large signs of a budding organization and a team that's like right on the precipice of kind of getting their ticket to the dance, right? Yeah. And some outlets are a bit naive to that because they want to lean into maybe some bigger markets, some more like heritage franchises out there and placate to those fan bases out there. But if you just kind of follow along and you realize, under Jonathan Gannon, how this team is trending and how Monty Ossenfort has built this roster and how he approached and went after, what people viewed as their needs and addressed them. And also you couple that with what's going on with their schedule in 2025. I think everybody can kind of really believe into it, and that this is going to be a team that's going to be in the postseason. So it's nice to kind of see as we things get closer and closer. It's starting to smell like a playoff team that's being cooked in the kitchen there. So
I mean, like, people didn't love the 2021 Arizona Cardinals, like, on paper, based on, like, people didn't like Cliff. People didn't like how the Cardinals finished in 2020. But for the most part, like, those vibes were similar because they just had too many good players, right? DeAndre Hopkins and Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt, like, you just collect enough assets, and the Cardinals did it a certain way under Keim and clearly a different way under Austin Ford and Gannon. Like, you're just going to get the benefit of the doubt. It's a big reason why, and it was funny, we were tagged in the post of our NFC West position rankings that had been resurfaced by Niner fans that do not like our breakdown, and we're contextualizing it just based off the fact that, like, what happened to all your good players? You're old and broken, and you've lost a lot of talent. So that's what we're going off of. It's not like, hey, Kyle Shanahan's resume or Jonathan Gannon's resume from the last couple. It's like, what does your roster look like? Who do you play this year? You got to like their chances. Like, on the surface, what does this team need right now? Well, they probably could use an upgrade, maybe interior offensive line eventually, or maybe another pass rusher. I mean, that probably about it. I know people want to trudge around maybe another wide receiver, but then you're just kind of grasping for straws a little bit. That's the sign of a good team.
I'll approach the I guess disgruntled Niners fans that we kind of highlighted some of the replies to that post after Niners Dov aggregated our rankings.
The guy's got like 50,000.
Yeah, he does. Coach Yak,
very upset.
Coach Yak, thank you. We appreciate it. Look, and this was not like a troll job by this show. This, there's people questioning our integrity and our knowledge of ball or lack thereof, but I want to, approach it by complimenting the 49ers. Let's say, 2019 San Francisco 49ers. Now, I won't say like that's the Arizona Cardinals in 2025, but that was a team that was on the rise, that had a lot of youth on it, a lot of invested draft capital and talent all up and down the roster that just hit at the right time. And I think the Cardinals have that in place, and it doesn't happen in this league where the team that was once good and then fell off suddenly just gets back on track. That's not the NFL. Usually it's like you have to really kind of go through some tougher times and kind of reset a little bit, especially have a youth movement in order to get back. The idea that San Francisco just thinks like, hey, we just stubbed our toe in 2024. We're going to get right back on track in 2025. No, like you suffered more catastrophic injuries than just kind of bumping into something in 2024.
They should know better than any franchise. The Jim Harbaugh 49ers were just as stacked and loaded, mainly defensively. And then that roster got picked apart and people retired and they got traded, or they left the team, or they got injured, and that Niner team eroded, right? It wasn't an immediate erosion. It was like they were in the NFC Championship game, and the next year they're 500, and then the wheels came off, and they had to rebuild and start over. And I'm like, why is this any different, right? Like, go back and look at the players that have gotten the 49ers to prominence the last half decade. They are gone, right? Deebo Samuel, gone. Christian McCaffrey is flying overseas to talk about leg specialists at the running back position. Sorry. I'm not buying that as a superior alternative to James Conner. George Kittle's over 30 or just about over 30. You look at that team, they're just not the same team. And then now, like, we don't think highly of Brock Purdy because we saw through the flaws of the Yak King from 2 years ago, and that's not a reality. Brandon Ayuk, not available, right? So, and this is a Cardinal podcast, but I think it was worth pointing out because they were just, let's do what Madden does. Let's just indoctrinate or ingratiate somebody. Once they're good, they're always good. You're always a 95. Kyle Shanahan's 49ers, even though none of your players can play anymore. That's like what Niner fans want to do. We're not doing that here. We're talking about a stock that's rising and that's the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, and I wish I could feel this pain, right? To go through so many good years.
He's so lucky
to have such stacked rosters and all those good times, and then be told it's over. Like the window's closed. That's heartbreaking. I'm sure it's traumatic for Niners fans, and it's probably something they don't want to have to realistically face right now. So, like, I understand it. You're hurt, and that's fine.
You blew it,
and we're filled with glee that that
you blew it in overtime.
Yeah,
against
a relatively large window as far as the NFL goes, and it came out with a couple Super Bowl appearances and heartbreak. Tough break. We move on. It's like, well, anyway, Arizona Cardinals are a team on the rise. Pro Football Focus, Johnny, they seem to be paying attention, as you mentioned, The Athletic. They got their thing going on social media, but I saw this come across PFF, just pointing out that the odds makers have the Arizona's win total line set at 8.5, in line with PFF's projection of just over that 8.7, with a 44% projected chance of making the playoffs. I think in July, that's pretty good. The Cardinals rank 7th among NFC teams in postseason probability. 7 teams do make the playoffs in each conference. That's via PFF.
Yeah, I think, again, like 8.7, you're trending toward 9 wins. We both feel like they're going to eclipse 9 wins. Not easily, but you and I both have them winning double-digit games this year. Now, that doesn't guarantee anything, as we saw, like, Seattle Seahawks been having a winning record for the last couple of years. They can't get into the postseason, so they're going to have to take care of business in their own division. But, I mean, you look at the NFC right now, and I don't want to go, like, division by division, team by team, but, like, I think we can feel pretty confident. Like, Commanders are good. Eagles are good. I think you and I, like, we buy the Packers. I don't think we buy the Lions and the Vikings as much this year. One team from the South, and then, like, 2 teams from the NFC West, probably. And then you've got an additional spot that's available. Like that, that's probably about it. And the Cardinals on paper, like, here's the thing about Arizona right now, is that they are going to come out of the gates, I feel confident, with a bunch of wins like 2021. They get to play the slum of the NFC South, right? They need to take care of business, of course, against Carolina at home. And we're cautiously optimistic about that. But, like, Saints, Panthers, fraud 49ers, Titans, Colts, like, they're going to be in the team where they're going to be one of these teams that's got a lot of juice early on. Can they sustain that momentum? That's going to dictate their season, because you look at the back end, like we've always talked about, it's Texans, Falcons, Bengals, Rams, Buccaneers, Rams twice. Like, that's where the season's going to be decided. So to get there, they're going to have to do something they have not done in K1's era, and that's play their best football at the end of the year.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Like, during the easier part of their schedule, can they create those and craft those winning habits? Can those turn into creating advantages down the end of the season, to where they're going to be able to pull out some tough wins? Like something we didn't see from this team last year. So saw this team take a step forward, take advantage of teams that were, not as good as they were. They went 5-1 against sub 500 teams. 5-1. And now the last one was the worst, or one of the bigger ones was the loss to the Carolina Panthers, but that was the only one in an end of your year. But other than that, like, you struggle against playoff teams. Like, you're going to have to win some of those games. So it's the opportunities certainly there against these lesser divisions, AFC, NFC South. It does bode well for them that the rest of the NFC, like the NFC East and the NFC North, are no longer going to get the Jake Paul fight schedule where they're taking on a 50-year-old man, every other week. They're going to be able to, they're going to have to get into some dog fights against some other divisional or conference opponents. And that's good for the Cardinals. But then it also means that the Cardinals' own division is going to be able to eat just like them outside of the division. Can the Cardinals take up and care of business enough in the division to really realistically punch that ticket towards the playoffs?
I agree with Didi. 4-2 in the division feels like a safe bet to get to the postseason. Then you need to make up 6+ wins outside of the division with the AFC and the NFC South, like, very doable. Ozzy's saying depends on the last 8 games of the regular season. I think, again, we bury the Niners on this podcast, and it could come back to bite us. I think the Cardinals sweep San Francisco again. I just feel like, and it's not always this way, right? Like Bruce Arians, go back, like the Jeff Fisher Rams were a tough matchup for Bruce Arians. They lost a couple games to a team that was perennially 500, and they were tough and difficult. And remember, they come out of those games with a bunch of injuries. Like sometimes you just have bad matchups for your team on both sides of the ball. I just feel like Jonathan Gannon, the way they coach now, the opposite of Cliff Kingsbury, the infrastructure. We're going to talk about the staff. I just think the Cardinals bode well and match up well against San Francisco in their roster. Like it wasn't the case when they had Colin Kaepernick and they had a mobile quarterback. But when you've got a guy who's got limitations as a thrower, can't move certainly as well as Kyler Murray, and now your defense is on the attack, and then, by the way, your offense ran the ball up and down on them in 2 games last year. I just like the Cardinals matchup really well against San Francisco. On the flip side, they don't against Seattle, and they got to figure that out.
Yeah, I mean, it's a coaching staff that kind of can keep things the status quo. Like you see, like, hey, they have an advantage in this area of the game. This is where they have a disadvantage, and they understand those, and they'll try to, scheme it and figure it out. And it's a team that consistently limits the surprises in each and every week's games, where Cliff Kingsbury felt like every other week was getting like out coached, and just kind of figured like, well, we just got to figure out, got to coach better, got to see, go back to the drawing board and figure out what went wrong. Where it's just like, no, if you prepare for that stuff and you prepare for how the team is going to try to expose you, then you should do okay in that respective matchup. So, the coaching staff is big, Johnny. It's one that's going to kick off our preview series that's going to lead us up to the team reporting for training camp later this month. We're going to get into our positional preview, but it starts with this year's coaching staff.
Yep, we're going to be talking about it right around the corner here on PHNX Cardinals. But first, yes, the NBA regular season, postseason is over. Football, you can do some early betting, but right now, perfect time to dabble on the diamond with our friends at Bet365. Never ordinary again with Bet365. 90 million users worldwide, 780,000 events each year. Bet365, they've pioneered live in-game betting. They offer the widest range of games and markets available. They've got golf, they've got tennis, whatever you want to dabble in, whatever the season. It's always betting season. New customers can get $150 in bonus bets when you bet just $5, win or lose. Sign up, use, of course, the bonus code PHNX365. Deposit $10, place a bet of $5, and you get $150 in bonus bets, win or lose. Again, open up a new account today. They've got player props, futures, spreads, totals, whatever the moment's never ordinary. You got to be 21 years and older, physically located here in the great state of Arizona. If you were someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342, or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more info.
Bet365, they've got you covered as far as traditional gambling. But you ever, throw a couple wagers between you and your friends, family members? Vimi's got you covered that way. They're going to make you obviously give you the best opportunity to have some fun, but also you don't have to go chase them down for your money, right? Have you heard about Vimi? It's the first of its kind person-to-person betting app that lets anyone, anything, anytime you can bet on it, right? No more odds, no more lines, just you and whoever you want to challenge. Hey, I can eat more pizza rolls than you. I can chug a beer faster than you. I can eat hotter buffalo wings. Whatever it may be, you could throw a one-on-one throwdown or group challenges, and it might challenge Johnny, my co-host, to one right now. We could just get on the Vimi app and have it settled before you know it. The best part, Vimi collects the money up front, so you don't have to chase down that one friend that never pays up, says, I'll hit you back on payday. Download the Vimi app today. Use the code PHNX and start playing. Available in the App Store and Google Play. Vimi, anyone, anything, anytime.
Big thanks to all of our sponsors here on a football, what is it, Wednesday? I'm going to tell you right now, whether it's Wednesday, Monday through Friday, perfect time to saddle up with our Die Hard sale right now. And, of course, we're in the thick of NBA free agency. Gerald Bourguet's got you covered front, left, and center at GoPHNX.com. Read the latest on the Suns. They're going to bring Chris Paul back. Check it out right now. It's $36 for the entire year. Again, $36. It's $3 a month, folks. Plus, you get a free piece of merch. GoPHNX.com. dabble in to the exclusive member Discord. And again, 20% off all of our future events, exclusive draft coverage with our guy Fran Duffy, full off-season access. Again, it's best $36 you'll ever spend. Right now, jump in as we get locked and loaded with Suns free agency here. What do you make of the Suns here? We don't talk a lot of Suns on this show. We ripped Kevin Durant, and I feel like our takes have aged very well. But Suns making some moves here.
Yeah, to get a little bit younger, more athletic, right? Taking those assets that they got for KD and flipping them in it. Job well done. I think it's at least not going to be like this overpaid team with high expectations that fall, horribly short of those, where it could be a team that's a little bit more fun to turn on, on a nightly basis here in the Valley of the Sun. So I'll take that. I'll take what they've done over what, they force fed us last season and a half.
Yeah. And there's, Cardinals were old and broken 2021, 2022. And then they said, we're going to strip this down and go younger. Suns would be wise to mirror the approach done by Monty Austinford. And of course, Austinford hired one Jonathan Gannon, and that's spotlights our coaching highlight for today. Bo Brack here in a PHNX Cardinals offseason discussion with the head ball coach coming into his third year as the head coach of this franchise. And he's got his two coordinators, Bo Brack, saddled up for the third consecutive year, which is not something we've had too much. There's been turnover in prior coaching staffs. There's been promotions. If you're Todd Bowles, circa 2014. So a lot of continuity on this staff.
Yeah, I think it's a great mix of continuity and new faces, right? Yeah. Like you've got some, I don't know if you could call them upgrades, but they tried to go a different direction in a couple different departments, and we'll get kind of the new additions to this coaching staff, along with the guys who exited this organization, one key member of the coaching staff that left. But I think that mix would serve them well. It doesn't, I don't think this is a coaching staff that ever would get complacent, but do you need new messaging there in certain different areas? You don't need wholesale changes. I think there's a lot of confidence in this. And then you look at the top coordinators under Jonathan Gannon, you've got two guys that are trending in different directions. And I think that when you see the numbers, it could be surprising to the outsider, because I think Drew Petzing, especially year over year, you see the improvement offensively, but also you have to all take into consideration what he's been kind of benefited from having as far as talent on that side of the football. So, taking a look at the coaching staff, firing up, going into year three with, we'll start with the top guy, Jonathan Gannon. I think I think the fan base collectively, the consensus, there's a ton of confidence in JG. And I think that obviously is within the organizational walls in Tempe and in Glendale. I think Bidwell loves Jonathan Gannon. You're a big kind of pounding the table that this could be a season that translates into an extension for JG. And but as far as the culture changer that he's been, as far as what he's got, a more disciplined and more fun product to watch. Now I think in year three, let's see what Jonathan Gannon does with some expectations. And I think that's going to be a little bit of a different twist to what we've seen the first two seasons.
I think Cardinal fans universally have support and faith in their head coach, given the fact that where this franchise was, given the fact that there's been questionable ownership moves over the last half decade plus. For him to be able to come in here and steady the waters, I think speaks to the kind of person and professional he is. And then I think you just got to look nationally. It's like there are people who don't love Kyler Murray. There are people who don't love Marvin Harrison Jr., that don't love the Cardinals defense. It's almost universal that people think Jonathan Gannon is a big-time head coach, that the reason why the Cardinals are going to be competitive, if they're competitive this year, is the JG on the sideline. That Jonathan Gannon, I just heard Colin Cowherd say the other day, it's like Cardinals are going to be good because they're going to win games they're not supposed to because of their head coach. Like, he dismissed that Eagles narrative immediately, I think, with his rookie year with the Cardinals, winning games without Kyler Murray, winning games against the Dallas Cowboys, right? I think convincingly, beating Pittsburgh on the road, beating Philadelphia, like with no business doing that, right? And when you're having those kind of performances and then you level up the next year, disappointing finish. But again, like, how many games were the Cardinals just not competitive in? Well, Green Bay, better roster, postseason team. Washington almost went to the Super Bowl, right? There were a couple instances, but for the most part, like Lions loaded squad, shut out in the second half by Gannon's defense, right? winning in Minnesota should have beat the Vikings. There were a ton of instances like that where they played above their talent level. And that's the best thing you can say about Jonathan Gannon. I said this time and time again. I don't know his ceiling as a head coach. I want it to be hoisting the Lombardi trophy. But I do feel like his floor is very Mike Vrabel-esque, where as long as you've got competent quarterback play, your floor is like 7-8 wins. And your ceiling is like, hey, this guy gets us to the playoffs. We could be a 1 seed. They're super competitive. Oh, they won 11 games in an off year. Like, I think that's the kind of coach he is. And I think this is the year you really start to reap the benefits, Bo, as you mentioned, of an upgraded roster.
Yeah, a true test, right? I mean, I know that we learned a lot about Gannon, his staff, throughout 2 years where they were working on the roster and trying to build things up. But like, even in non-wins, especially year one, you got a glimpse, and I think nationally people all got the idea like, hey, we thought this was going to be a team in the Arizona Cardinals that the opposition was just going to show up and they were just going to be handed a win. And that was the farthest thing from it. Like, for them, they showed up and they scratched, they clawed, and they gave competitive games week in and week out, despite having the worst roster in the league in 2023 when Kyler Murray was out for the first 10 weeks. And Jonathan Gannon was the one that was able to kind of put the team in a position to do that. I agree with all that. I mean, now you start to look at, okay, what are the expectations? What's the outlook for his coordinators? Because like, you've got one where I think the fan base just can't wait to see what's going to happen with Nick Rawlis, where you've got a ton of confidence in the defense to kind of become a suffocating part of the football with their improved personnel under Rawlis. And then you've got like the skepticism on the offensive side. It's like, hey, running this back and kind of pushing all your chips into the middle of the table, betting on Drew Petzing. I'm a little nervous about that. Can this chemistry really, translate to things opening up offensively and them taking a big step? Like, those are two very different outlooks for both sides, for the two sides of the football for under Gannon.
Yeah. To me, it's you want to talk about Drew Petzing. Jonathan Gannon doesn't want to be the head coach that recycles coordinators, that just goes 1 year after another. Let's get a new person in here just for the sake of it. Like, maybe it's to a fault. We'll find out this year. He believes in Drew Petzing. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been retained. They would have pivoted off of Drew Petzing. They would have gotten a new coordinator. But he believes it's what's best for Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. and everybody. Now, they're going to have to produce this year. And again, like, are we overly critical of the offense? I don't think so. But I do think the numbers are better than, like, even we make them out to be. Like, weren't they like 12th in total offense last year? Like, they were a respectable offense. Yeah. But I feel like it didn't come at the right time for them, right? Like, when you needed a touchdown, they couldn't deliver. But then they'd have a crooked number against the Rams, or they'd have a crooked number against the Niners that didn't mean much in the finale. And it boosted some of those totals. We know Drew Petzing can scheme up a run game maybe as good as anybody. Like, I will give him credit. Like, it's Shanahan-esque that he's able to conjure up 4 yards in a cloud of dust, where Amara DiMercado's averaging like 8 yards per carry. But this is the comparison or the example I've continually used on it. It's like, we know Drew could come in here 2 years ago and take a roster that was not ready to compete and say, I'm going to make this watchable with Josh Dobbs. I'm going to make it respectable. Offensive line's going to get better, and Yelda Froholt and Paris Johnson and the tight ends, and Trey's going to emerge. And he leveled up the Cardinals offense 2 years ago. He absolutely did. Now he has to level up again. And we have to make sure that Drew Petzing's ceiling is not what we've seen thus far. And Gannon and company are banking that it's not, that Drew has another level to go to. And again, they're giving him every opportunity to hit that this year.
Yeah, let's take a look at those numbers that Johnny was talking about here. Offensively, if you're joining with us, if you're watching, you can see them here on the screen. But in 2023, the team averaged just over 20 points per game, 20.5. That was tied for 21st, where in last season they were at 23.5, which was 12th in the league. Just kind of knocking on the door. It's maybe a top 10 scoring team. But yeah, was that swayed by a couple big performances against, the Jets and the Rams in week 2 and the Bears and the 47 in the finale? Certainly, like those made the numbers look a lot better. And also, I think you have to consider that they were way better offensively in the first half of games than they were in the second half of games. Remember that they came out of the gates hot to start the season. It felt like each and every game, like they were scoring on every opening drive, and then they went stagnant and they were far too quiet between like the middle of the second quarter into the third quarter, and they just couldn't finish the job. Total yards, you see them year over year up significantly. They were 24th in the league in 23. Top 10, Johnny, last year, 371. But I think this is where people are going to kind of start to make some noise about the passing attack. 23rd in passing yards, 214. It's up, of course, from the debacle that was, the first year. You got Josh Dobbs in there, Clayton Tune one game before Kyler Murray came back, 29th in the league. But, you see him on third and long. They weren't great. Really didn't take any shots. They were a little risk adverse in the passing game, and then dominant back-to-back seasons, 7th place finishing in rushing yards. And you look at the third down numbers improve there, but improvements across the board. You can't deny the growth, but as you said, people look at this personnel. Kyler Murray, nearly $50 million quarterback, 4th overall pick, stout run game, good offensive line, one of the best tight ends in the league. They expect a little bit higher of a performance than the Arizona Cardinals produced in 2024.
Yeah, I mean, the proof is in the pudding with Drew on the left-hand side, is that you had Kyler Murray for the entirety of 2024, and you went up 6 spots passing the football. It's just not enough, right? And those numbers were juiced by K1 at the tail end, as you mentioned, of 2023. But then, like, rushing, very consistent, right? Like, for the Cardinals to get where they needed to be last year, like that passing yards per game needed to be top 20. And we all believed it. I sat here on the show last summer and said, Bo, like if Kyler Murray plays every game, like he's going to break records. He's going to have a monster year statistically because of how comfortable he looked in the offense. Yeah. Man, think about the game he had at Philadelphia 2 years ago. Three passing touchdowns, they get rushing touchdowns. Like, here we go. Mm-hmm. We're locked in. He looked good in the finale against the Seattle Seahawks, and they never got going with an offense where it was like humming and you could count on it for 4 quarters, right? They'd queue up. Drew could queue up a great opening drive. And then from there, it's like, okay, they disappeared for a couple quarters. That's the next step. But let's talk about the defensive coordinator in Nick Rawls for a second, because we've outlined this before. Noah, man, can we see that graphic one more time? Like, points allowed per game, you cut it in half, right? With almost the same players. Like, I know there were tweaks here and there, but like, who is the major upgrade that they had defensively last year? Like Mack Wilson Sr., with all due respect, no Bilal Nichols or Justin Jones or Bijo Jalari. I mean, he's like the same guys.
Right.
He cut it in half. That's why we're all bullish. Like 15th could easily go to like 6th, 7th in the NFL this year with Josh Sweat, who we're going to talk about later, and Calais and Dalvin Tomlinson and Will Johnson. I think the big one there is column 4 is the takeaways. You know, we preach about sacks. They're important. Pressures are important. The Cardinals, though, if they want to be a big-time contender this year defensively, like that number has to be an aggressive number that we saw from like Minnesota last year that spearheaded their Kickstarter defense. Like you can't be having less than 20 takeaways and be a playoff level defense. And I think the game records that they brought in this offseason, we haven't even talked about Walter Nolan today, like that they're going to allow them opportunities to take the football away at all 3 levels of their defense.
Yeah. If it's 17 interceptions, that's fine. But you got to conjure up more opportunities to get your hands on the football. We talked to Rabbit Taylor Demerson, I think the first day you were out, and you can tell that there's an emphasis from the coaching staff that they want to get their hands on more footballs this year. I think there's a heavy belief that the improved defensive front 7 with the addition of Josh Sweat and Walter Nolan and Calais Campbell and Dalvin Tomlinson are going to create opportunities to take the football away. Yes, Jacob, with Sub-Zero, Will Johnson, and other draft investments in that secondary, along with Budda Baker, to get that football in their hands. And yeah, there's an immense amount of confidence because it's not just Nick Rawls. We know it's Nick Rawls, it's Jonathan Gannon. That's the brain trust that have shown already a ton of success at the NFL level. You just imagine with improved personnel that it's just going to continue to go and trend the right direction. So love to see it. Couple different ends of the spectrum as far as how coordinators are viewed, but still two guys in pretty decent positions. Like if we put some kind of, we color coded it a little bit. Yeah. And we put, blue has you as in a very, strong position with the organization, while we've got kind of red as a vulnerable spot. And we put Petzing in kind of that vulnerable spot. I don't think anybody could deny it. Like if it's the status quo offensively, I think that there's going to be enough disappointment to where they're going to seek change.
Yeah, I think because it would mirror, I don't want to dog on Kyler Murray my first show back, but it's like you would want to mirror an OC change with maybe a quarterback change, right? Like that would make sense to a lot of people. It's like, well, you start fresh, right? Or maybe bring in competition, because I don't know, like, is there a reality in which Kyler Murray excels but Drew Petzing gets fired? I don't know if that happens, right? But I think if we're sitting here and we're talking about Drew Petzing being replaced, then that probably means Kyler Murray's not playing as well as he needs to play. So the trickle-down effect is significant with that. But I think on the flip side, and again, like, you want this for him because you want him to have success, and his success is the Cardinal success. Yeah. Like, would it shock you if Nick Rawls is a head coach this time next year? Wouldn't shock me. Like, if the Cardinals have one of the best defenses in the NFL and Nick Rawls gets in front of people, then it could be game over. And I think what bodes well for Nick is that the league has started to kind of sway from offensive mastermind, young coaches, the guy out of Carolina that got hired. And obviously Cliff was an example of that, from Sean McVay. They've kind of steered away from that. They've gone back to leader of men, great coaches. Gannon fell into this category. I mean, Dan Quinn, the blueprint last year, that guy can just coach. Like, yes, Nick Rawls has a specialty defensively, but if he gets in front of people and it's like, look what I did 3 years, I rebuilt this Cardinal defense into maybe one of the league's best. I mean, it better come with a division title, and we can all stomach it a little bit sooner. But I'll put this out there. I think there's a better chance that Nick Rawls is a head coach this time next year than Drew Petzing is fired. I'll put that out there.
Yeah, and I think that he's probably going to hurdle his offensive coordinator as far as getting interviews, getting in front of organizations. As a future head coach, and it's just because of his coaching style, his leadership qualities, where I think just Nick is excellent, and he's going to be undeniable. And it's not going to be like a Byron Leftwich situation where he's a candidate 1 year and then he's shortly after that out of the league. Right? This is a guy that's on the rise, and he should consistently trend that direction. There's as we mentioned, the continuity there, like that the three-headed monster that is Jonathan Gannon and his two top coordinators. There's change below them. And Johnny, I think the biggest kind of concern is the biggest exit was Clayton Adams. Like, if you were to, outside of Rawls, I think if you were to say, hey, the guy you couldn't stand to lose from this coaching staff was Clayton Adams, who, kind of late in the game in the offseason was picked by the Dallas Cowboys as their offensive coordinator, and Clayton Adams is now exits, but there is confidence with the guy that comes in and Justin Fry, albeit from the lower level collegiately, but after a title-winning performance with Ohio State.
Yeah, like I think this is out there that the Cardinals wanted to hire or wanted to bring on Justin Fry when Gannon first got the job, and he wasn't available, and he stayed in This is somebody that's been on the radar for 3 years. And so I think it speaks to, we talk about Gannon being an ascending elite head coach. It's also an elite recruiter, where it's like, hey, I'm Jonathan Gannon. I know the Bears and some other teams are interested in you, Justin Fry, but our coach just left. He's the OC in Dallas. You're going to come be our O-line coach. You ready to make that commitment? And it was done. And it was, Clayton Adams got hired, I think, on a Thursday, and Justin Fry was hired on a Friday, or it was like a Friday, Saturday, Thursday, Friday kind of combination. Yep. And again, give Michael Bidwell credit. I know that's kind of like a four-letter word here, but it's like somebody had to pay Justin Fry good money to come here, and that's not a salary cap payment. That's good money for an offensive line coach. So to me, it would be disrespectful to Clayton Adams to say there will be no drop-off, right? But I think Drew Petzing is really good off offensive lineman, as we stated earlier. But like, we all expect Justin Fry to pick up the baton and just keep this mojo going, because the Cardinals offensive line is one of the best units on the team.
Yeah. I mean, some people are probably skeptical about how much coaching goes into the offensive line at Ohio State. It's like, oh, you're probably, you get the best talent in the country, all this and that. But I mean, they were elite through the college football playoff. They're unbelievable through the CFP. And, I know it's a bit relative, but the adversity that they faced, Justin Fry had to replace 2 key starters on that offensive line last year. Justin Simmons went down, their starting center went down. And by the end of it, I mean, there was no position group that was playing better than what they did through the championship game. So Justin Fry, I think there's a ton of confidence there. We'll wrap up with this. If you don't mind just putting up all the additions that they did on the coaching staff. The other line coach, we had Derek LeBlanc. He exited the organization, not for a better job, but we got Coach Debo here replacing him on the defensive line from Minnesota. And the thing about Coach Debo and then your outside linebackers coach, Matt Feeney, Johnny, this is what we learned about that was it wasn't, hey, we need a D-line coach. We need a pass rush outside linebackers coach. Here are the candidates that can fill that role. Oh, hire a guy and then hire another guy for the other position. There was Jonathan Gannon really wanted to have kind of a symbiotic relationship between those 2 coaches. Yeah. And it was a process. And he really didn't want to kind of discount that anyway. So he made sure that Debo would fit with Feeney, and they did a lot of searching here. And this is what they landed on here with these 2 guys.
And again, it's tough for Coach Rodriguez and Coach LeBlanc, which, Bo, we've had an opportunity to speak with, in certain parts of the offseason. It's like, did anybody think they had great talent? Like, nobody thought that, right? And that's just that's the business at hand, right? Like, your franchise quarterback goes down, your offense stinks, you're probably getting fired as an offensive coordinator. Like, that's the NFL. But this just feels like a clean slate for everybody involved at the defensive line. D tackles, pass rushers, edge rushers, outside linebackers, like that unit was the worst unit on the team for 2 years, right? And they had minimal building blocks. And again, a bunch of people got hurt and free agent busts alike, and it was really unfortunate. But I just feel like now that they're pivoting to some new people and they're pivoting to some talent. And again, I think the talent's going to make them look good pretty quickly here. Like in my opinion, you can't really fudge up a Walter Nolan and a Josh Sweat, who we're going to talk about, and Calais Campbell, right, who is, ageless at this point. Like, those guys we're going to turn on the tape week 1 against New Orleans. It's going to look like a defensive line that we have not seen here in half a decade. So I think they're set up for success. It's the opposite of Nick Rawls 2 years ago, where it's like, hey, Nick, can you kind of make this work on Sundays? Now it's like, hey guys, drive this Rolls Royce, not this Prius, but this, this Jaguar, drive it around the block and don't ding it up. And do what you need to do.
Yeah. Who do you think the Cardinals, most important coaches to their success? Who's the key to success? Obviously drop a comment, leave a like though. There you go. That's how we kick off the preview series, our positional preview series, leading you up to training camp with your coaching staff. Obviously tune in to see what's next tomorrow.
Yeah. What's next on this show? A certain Cardinal, a newbie, by the way, has entered the top 100 for the NFL. Who is that and why it's significant? That's coming up. PHNX Cardinals.
Pure edibles, man. Love pure edibles. 130 spots. You can get them. 130 dispensaries in Arizona where you can get your hands on pure edibles, which was founded here in our great state up in Flagstaff, up the I-17. They've come down to the big leagues here in Phoenix. They call Phoenix AZ home after starting up in the Noble Orb dispensary. Check it out right now. They've got the full-fledged candy company offering you gummies. They've got kicks, which are like Starburst, chews, like soft candies like caramel, and hard candies. Cool thing about Pure Edibles, they're 10s. They have listed on each 10. You can exactly see what exactly effects to expect from Pure Edibles. They got those gummies for sleep support as well as candies for uplifting effects derived from unique cannabinoids such as CBN, CBG, and CBD with marijuana derived from THC. Pure gummies designed to be ripped, bit in half, making them easily shareable and easy to dial in that exact dosage that you're looking for. Go find yourself some Pure Edible products from one of the 130 dispensaries statewide. Pure Edibles.
Big fan of our friends at Pure Edibles. How about our friends at Circle K hooking you up right now? The 4th of July special going on right now. Again, June 25th through the 8th. How about buy one, get one free Doritos? How about 3 for $5, 28-ounce Gatorades? I've already taken advantage of that, part of their summer blaze. How about this right now? 2 for $5 Celsius, 12-ounce, 16-ounce. They've got their exclusive flavor, dragon fruit lime. Can't wait to check that one out. Then, of course, Circle K's exclusive flavor, the watermelon dragon fruit splash, which is fantastic. They've got their meal deal matrix, $3. Again, hot dog, tornado, Frito-Lay's chips, Polar Pop up to 44 ounces, and you go up to $4. That's not breaking the bank. Circle K, breakfast Sammy, hash brown, and, of course, 16-ounce Bang C4 or medium iced coffee. 2 slices is $5. You can't beat it. And you can't beat Circle K. Join the Inner Circle for free by downloading the Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for more details.
I find myself spending more and more time over at Circle K, the one in the corner by my house. It's unbelievable. It's my July 4th headquarters where you're going to load up on snacks. You forget a cooler. They got coolers right there for you to purchase. Love Circle K. And love to tap in the Inner Circle for free. You're just burning money by not being a member of their free membership program. So
money well spent, just like the Cardinals this offseason did with a certain pass rusher of note. Cardinals opened up free agency, went hard in the paint at Milton Williams, then immediately pivoted right around lunchtime. We all remember that fateful Monday to open up legal tampering. They inked Josh Sweat to a robust 4-year contract as he leads the Cardinals pass rush unit, Bo, that has been amongst the least productive, let's just call a spade, in the NFL. And our friends at the NFL Network have taken notice as Sweaty J ekes in to the top 100. Let's take a look. NFL will paraphrase here. Sweat might have made this list based on his Super Bowl performance alone. He was the most damaging of Philadelphia's game-wrecking pass rushers, leading the defense with 6 quarterback pressures and 2.5 sacks in the Eagles' thwarting of the Chiefs' three-peat dreams. And then he cashed in the offseason with the Cardinals. If history serves, Sweat should excel for largely remain front seven in reuniting with head coach Jonathan Gannon, with whom he had 18.5 sacks and a Pro Bowl appearance spanning 2 seasons. And again, Sweat led the Eagles with 8 sacks and was second on the team. This is Keybo. 15 quarterback hits. He's one of 6 edge rushers with 4+ sacks and 10+ QB hits each of the last 6 seasons with, some notables. We talked about this offseason, including Brian Burns, TJ Watt, Myles Garrett, and Max Crosby.
Elite company right there for Sweaty J. And like, if you were told us before the offseason went down that the Arizona Cardinals, they were going to have a top 100 player, and it was going to be at the pass rush position, we would have been giddy. And it's great. It's finally great to see it for the first time, I think, probably since Chandler Jones, that they had a top 100 pass rusher. Like, if you count JJ Watt, sure. But, it's also the first time I think Josh Sweat has gotten this nod in his career. So well-deserved, in what is a popularity contest most of the time. But still, like, when you see the crap box lists that go out and there's one Cardinal and it's Trey McBride, like CBS did a couple weeks ago, it's nice to see get acknowledged by some national media members.
And again, like, no one's sitting here and comparing Sweat to the players we just mentioned on this list, but the Cardinals had to do something because of the ignorance at the position, I'll call it, or, ignoring certain aspects of free agency last year with Jonathan Grenard and company. They had to go spend great money on a good player. And that's okay, because they had that. They had saved up their pennies, if you're Austin Ford, and you could go out and say, like, we're just going to go buy the best edge rusher because we are starting over at that position. And they have shown you that. Like, they brought in a 3rd-round edge rusher. They traded for Baron Browning. He gets a clean slate this offseason with a full offseason with the Cardinals coaching staff. Like, when you're starting over, like, you can't, snuff your nose, Bo, at this position unit any longer. We can't sit here and talk about B.J. Ojulari as the answer coming off back-to-back years of injury, including last year, he blew out his knee, right? You can do that year 2 when you've got some mojo and cachet and you can preach, draft, and develop. Listen, Cardinals would have taken Mykel Williams if he had been there at pick 16, and he would have been the future. But guess what? He wasn't there. And it's great, not good, but great that they signed Sweaty J, because then they didn't have to force a pick at 16 like Shamar Stewart, who, by the way, I think he's still unsigned. So that the Josh Sweat signing had so many ramifications because it allowed them to go out and get Walter Nolan, which allowed them to go out and get Will Johnson, right? Do those things happen? Does the prior GM operate that way, or does he force a pick, right? So kudos to Austin Ford, because, again, if this deal, Mike Garafolo has come on our show and said, like, if this deal lasts 2 years and you get a couple productive seasons, that's the NFL. That's good enough.
Yeah, if he taps into what he's consistently done over the last couple of seasons that they outlined in his breakdown on the top 100. And how many edge rushers do you think make the top 100? Let's conservatively say 10.
Yeah, it was just about 8 to 10. Sounds about right.
So what are you saying? Like a collection of data, including his peers, believe he's a top 10 edge rusher.
And again, we've always talked about this, and it's like the biggest reason why there's just buffoonery in this market during the draft when people start talking about taking a guard or a tight end or an off-ball linebacker, Jahad Campbell, with a first-round top 16 pick. Then you're putting a statement that player needs to be the best at their position, right? Like Colston Loveland, for our friends at CHGO, their fans, like, he needs to be a top 5 tight end to justify that pick.
No.
Josh Sweat gets a truckload of money this offseason. We're all going to be happy if he gets to 10 sacks, right? And that could be like 30th in the NFL in sacks or 25th. Yeah. It does not matter. It does not make it. Walter Nolan could be, 5 to 7 sacks this year, and we're throwing a parade. It's about realistic expectations with these players, premium positions. Sweat plays it. Walter Nolan plays it. Will Johnson plays it. It's called team building 101. No. Thank God Austin Ford knows how to do it.
Did you see the news today about the Bills' first-round pick corner getting hit with he's got legal issues coming up.
Uh-oh.
Hairston does. I wonder if the Bills wonder if they should have passed on Will Johnson with medicals. Instead, they got to deal with their first-round pick, potentially going to miss. I don't know. We'll see what happens with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like when they took a chance to take Xavier Worthy and they traded the rights to Kansas City and they traded down. They took the kid out of FSU who was fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
But it's tough, man. Buffalo, sometimes you just like Will Johnson was worth a first-round pick based on his film alone, just like I liked the Kimdichie pick because of the talent. Will Johnson was, in my opinion, a much safer prospect.
Oh, yeah.
Because of the person, right? Like, if you're Buffalo and you take Will Johnson and it doesn't work out, like, you can stomach that. But here's what you can't stomach, to your point, taking what is unquestionably a lesser prospect, and they did, and then that player not hitting, and then Will Johnson hitting, that gets people fired. That's what got Steve Keim fired.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when the stakes are as high as they are in Buffalo. I mean, they at some point have to break through and get themselves past the AFC Championship game. They're going to be able to do it, without a key asset being able to play significant downs there, impact downs for him out of the first round. So Josh Sweat, though, man, he's in the fold. The Cardinals have a top 100 player. We can the long process for us wondering if it's going to happen, watching the top 100 diligently. I know you're going to have it on every night, just trying to figure out, are they going to take the Cardinals down a couple notches? Nope, not happening today, because you have to imagine, I got to think Buddha's on this list. I got to imagine Trey McBride's on this list.
Trey McBride better be like a top 30 player on this list. That would be disappointing if Travis Kelce's higher than Trey McBride, cancel the list. Just cancel it. Travis Kelce, who I didn't get a chance to talk tight end with you.
Can he read the list?
I don't know. Come on now. NFL.com.
Yeah.
Make smart choices here.
Right.
We're going to make smart choices. We got your super chats around the corner. It's PHNX Cardinals. Make smart choices managing your finance with our friends at Monarch Money. Again, get the app right now that helps making money managing simple, even for the busiest of lives. Again, we've all got it. Now, not one credit card. You got several. You got a couple accounts, right? You got investments. You want to know where your money stands without all the hassle. Track your spending, your savings, your investments effortlessly so you can focus on what matters most, making your biggest life goals a reality. Monarch Money is the finance tool people actually love. It was named the Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. It's the top recommended personal finance app by users and experts with over 30,000 five-star reviews. Is that good? Get control of your overall finances with Monarch Money. Again, bonus code PHNX at monarchmoney.com. Again, half the year off, 50% off monarchmoney.com. You got to use the bonus code PHNX. Level up your finances today.
Johnny Venerable returned to a brutal over 100-degree stretch here in Phoenix. Yesterday was really bad. But look, we all know that with the rising temperatures, go rising energy costs. And APS is going to help you hack that with what they got. How about a smart thermostat that can help you save big while keeping cool? It works with your APS rate plan and your smartphone. You can automatically just adjust temperatures and optimize energy use with APS and the smart thermostat. They're going to help hook you up. How about a thermostat as low as $0? Yeah, all you have to pay is taxes and I think shipping on it. You get 2 to 3% on your cooling bill. But hey, who's actually remembering to change the thermostat every time they leave the house? That's always a tough remember. You're always in your car halfway to work and you're like, damn it, I didn't change the thermostat. You can do it on your smartphone with your smart thermostat. Check it out. Right now, APS customers get that smart thermostat for as low as $0. Enroll in the Cool Rewards program. That's $0. Must be an APS customer and pay shipping and taxes. Other restrictions apply. Full details at marketplace.aps.com. That's marketplace.aps.com.
We came back to our house. We had bumped up the thermostat because we weren't home, and it was a bloodbath. I need APS in my life like you wouldn't believe. I need your super chats in my life right now. Let's get to them. Appreciate all the welcome returns. Prius jokes aside, let's get going here with Greg 199. So which 49ers pod are we going to revenge troll? I think we troll the posting if it ages well. So I'm going through my mentions, Greg, as we speak right now. And yeah, it was rough. I'm like, what's going on here? Do we remember what the account was? Do you remember who it was, Bo?
Coach Yak, right?
Okay, got it.
Yeah, I'll never forget it. It's seared in my mind.
Yeah, I've never needed a Niner crash out more. So a quote tweet can be done. We can have Noah mock up the Niners last in every category, and we could say, like, fix it for you. Just the one problem is their schedule is such dog water. It is one of the worst schedules I've ever seen. So there's going to be this Denver Broncos-esque false sense of reality puffing their chests out like they've done something. That's where you really have to make it hurt within the division. Like, we're going to be hate watching the Niners every Sunday, like I've done for most of my adult life.
Right. The head-to-head is going to be so key. We're going to be living and dying with each and every play in those games, in the two games that they match up, with the thought of, can I clap back with a quote tweet on this as early as week 3?
Yes.
They go on the road, and we got that date circled.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of mean things said. No, and we don't care. We actually encourage it.
Imagine not talking grief or SHIT in an offseason where the Cardinals got infinitely better, swept the Niners, and the Niners are trending poorly. Like, This is our time to shine. We're not talking grief 2 years ago when this roster was XFL level bad. This is it for us. When there's a window, you got to take it, and we will take it here.
Yeah, we're not going to miss out on that like you guys did on your Super Bowl window.
That's right.
Shaft jumping in, $20, my guy. Hopefully you're feeling better. Once again, I cannot post chat, only a super chat. First, I want to thank everyone for all the well wishes. My jaw and face look like it went a few rounds with Tyson. Hope to make part of the show. Welcome back, Johnny.
Hey, Shaft. I'm glad you're feeling a little bit better. Glad the procedure went well. Super chat, never expected, but always appreciated, my guy. Hope to see you soon. One of our many diehard events here. This is going to be watch along season coming up this fall. Of course, Shaft, a staple to our watch alongs. We appreciate you, my friend.
I think I saw him consistently throughout the chat today, correct? He's in there, right?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
So started working for him.
He's got it all figured out.
We've got to figure it out here. Going into overtime. Meow, meow, meow. I've missed that. I've missed overtime here. Jump on over to gophnx.com with one of our many streaming partners as we kick things off here.
Would you do that just randomly with your family on vacation?
Yeah, I would get weird stares at the brunch line, at the buffet line. Meow, meow, meow. Pass me one of the, piece of bacon. People would be like, get away from me. Freak show. But no, we're back in our element today in face melting 110 degrees. Math to the power of Joe, 499. What a name and avatar. Bold prediction. Cardinals start 8-0 and win a playoff game. They'll be like the Lions were last year, blowout wins with a top 5 defense. I hope they don't putter out in the playoffs, but beggars can't be choosers. I'm with you. I think the Cardinals, I don't know if they can start 8-0, but I think they're going to have one of the best records in the NFC 2 months in. The schedule sets up like that. They've got so much juice. We don't know how Kyler Murray's going to finish. We know he can be an MVP player in September and October. That can't be disputed.
Yeah, they need to take care of business that opening stretch. And I was saying this, I think, when you're gone, with Jair Alexander now wearing a Baltimore Ravens jersey, looking at the Packers secondary.
Yeah,
that's looking like a more and more of a winnable game at home for the Cardinals in Week 7. So as one that was it was kind of a messy game last year in Lambeau. These are two different teams in 2025. I think the Cardinals should be able to at least make it a good game and come out of there with a potential win. Brian P, $20. Thank you for your generous super chat. The question is, were we competitive against better rosters because they didn't take the Cards seriously and didn't prepare appropriately? Or JG got the squad amped to go? No one will be sleeping on the Cards this year.
I think there's some truth to that. I think coaches respect Jonathan Gannon. And I think Cliff Kingsbury's earned the respect as an OC now. I don't know if he had that with Vance Joseph 5 years ago. I think that's fair to put that out there. We would watch Cliff in the first half and be like, did they Cardinals practice this week? I would ask Bo, I'm like, were you at practice? It doesn't look like they practiced. Whereas the Cardinals, Brian, outplay teams for large stretches of games. I do think, and again, I could have egg all over my face. I think for the most part, their losses last year were talent deficient losses. Yeah. They did not have the talent to finish off Detroit or Buffalo or Minnesota. Offensively, yes, they have to be better. They were 18 months into this rebuild. Their defense, you said it to kick off the show. You still had to stomach a lot of this has to happen, then this, then this, then this. They go 8 guys deep on their defensive line now.
Yeah, I think non-competitive losses, you think of Washington and Green Bay. And outside of that, this was a team that's been in it consistently, at least through 2024 and spots in 2023 with one of the worst rosters in the league. Our guy Ryan jumping in with $2 on the super chat. JV putting on that Andy Reid to shame. Welcome back. I think he's talking about your attire. Look at that shirt.
It was festive today.
Can't hear you over your shirt.
So
very
loud.
Very loud shirt
today. I'm going to be honest with everybody. This was the last of my clean clothes to wear today because I'm out of clean clothes.
You're in an awful spot, man. It's one of the worst. Vacations are great, but coming back and no laundry done. It's just a mess. You're getting back in the middle of the work week. You couldn't have planned it worse.
Yep, it was a bad play, and we talked about this before the show with producer Noah, who's just he's a fresh-faced baby, just like Damon Dog is. When you go on a trip with your family, you need a vacation from your family after the trip. I'm not back today refreshed from an overnight flight from Maui to San Francisco to Phoenix and 12 hours of travel. That doesn't help me, right? And chasing my kids around for 8 days. Family time, right? Making memories, but I'm not jet setting with my wife and we're taking it easy for 10 days. Right. So You need
sipping cocktails and living a life of relaxation.
I don't know what that life is like.
No,
so
that's why I think, you're using your vacation or coming off of it as a cautionary tale.
Yeah.
To a young, impressionable Noah who needs to know the horrors of being a family man.
Mm-hmm. Make the choices, Noah, or just understand what you're getting into. As my daughter kicked over my wife's ginger ale all over her at 3 a.m. on this flight, had to be changed in the bathroom of the United jet. And there were many instances like that. So, but we persevered. We had a great time. It's great to be back, but by no means am I like rested and ready to go up. No, it's very much Gannon-esque. We're just going to power through like a war daddy here today.
If he wasn't hosting a show right in front of my very eyes, I would have thought this was one of Johnny's burners. But Darth Vader jumping in with a 199 super chat. Look at that. It's a Darth Vader head with a Cardinals body.
Tremendous.
Yeah, fantastic. Johnny's take. So we talked about this a little bit yesterday. We're talking some big storylines going into training camp. Johnny's take on the starting corners. There's kind of 3 guys vying for 2 spots outside. We know Garrett Williams, you can Sharpie him in, slot corner spot. 3 guys vying for the outside corner spot.
I just have no issue with what they've done. They've taken 2 top 50 corners in the draft, and then statistically, Will Johnson could have been a top 20 pick. I don't really worry about experience. That's a position that you need youth and athleticism. Bo, you've talked about this. Like Sauce Gardner came in the league and dominated. They've got the best DB coach in the NFL in Jonathan Gannon. I don't think you can evaluate any of these corners. How good is Garrett Williams that he's excelled without a pass rush? So to me, it's like Max Melton, Will Johnson, Garrett Williams, the depth of this team. We don't even know what Elijah Jones can do, right? Like there are a ton of guys. Denzel Burke, who we had in studio a couple weeks ago. Like I love the mix of, Garrett Williams has been in the league for 3 years. Starling Thomas, Keitrell Clark are afterthoughts. They've been in the system for 3 years. Like, cornerback group is hungry. I think make some plays on the ball this year. Like, do they have like a quintessential number 1 outside corner? No. Do you need that? I don't think you do. I think you can, if Garrett Williams is a high end number 2, low end number 1, and the outside corners are just 2s, you're set. You can excel and have a top 5 defense with that. Like, nobody has Patrick Surtain. That's an anomaly.
Love to see Will Johnson emerge and take on that role. That's goes without saying. I think he's got the best potential to do so. I think Max Melton's going to surprise some people, be a little bit stickier in coverage. And then you always, like, if it comes down to it and Starling Thomas happens to be the guy, it's either he earned it or, unfortunately somebody like Starling Thomas, if he's thrust in the starting lineup, I'm fine with it.
Just like Jair Alexander, does anybody think he's going to be good this year in Baltimore? Their defense is not what it once was. That's a young man's position. Like, you don't want to get old and slow. Like Asante Samuel Jr., poor guy, can't find a team right now because he's injured. Yeah, I agree with Matt to the power of Joe. It is a scary group of corners, like scary good. How many top corners did Steve Keim take? He didn't take any, right?
Right.
It showed, and they had nothing at that position.
And I think that gets lost nationally. It's something that gets overlooked statistically because of the inability to get pressure up front. Those guys were, stuck in coverage or having to cover for far too long. And quarterbacks were able to put, accurate passes on their receivers, and they were a bit picked apart. Hopefully they can, obviously with development and also a better front seven, get better chances out there to show how good they actually are.
It would just, the combination of their schedule and their talent on defense, it would shock you beyond belief if they're not a top 10 scoring defense. Would you agree with that? Like, you and I would be shocked. Like, if they're around the same area as they were last year, there's just no way that's happening.
Right. If they're not getting off the field quicker, if they're not creating more opportunities, whether it's forcing 3 and outs or turnovers, then you're like, what's going on here? Why does this look so similar to what we thought was an undermanned defense last year? Like, it just seems like everything, the ingredients for them to vastly improve defensively on a group that as admirable as it can be, as respectful as I can be, man, they did very well last year.
Dennis Gardeck, Jesse Lucchetta, Victor Dimukeje holding the Lions to 0 points.
I expect those guys to be on the top 100 coming up here pretty soon. All those guys, right?
Isn't it like that's you want a big coup for Gannon and company? And I know it's disrespect of the Cardinals players based on our Southwest bias and everybody else, their neglect of the Southwest. But I just feel like if you're Gannon and you're like, I got 2 guys in the top 100 and our over under as a team is like a winning record and a playoff spot, like what does that say about your coaching staff? I think it says a lot about your coaching staff. Whereas like some of these teams that are, they got a bunch of loaded players, or the Niners are going to have a ton of top 100 players this year. McCaffrey will fraud it up. He'll be on the list. He played like a game last year. That means nothing in the grand scheme of things, right? That ship is sinking fast. I refuse to believe that team will be good this year. Again, like I would much rather buy stock in Sam Darnold and the Seahawks because I at least can see like the concept of what they're trying to do. Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings, week 1. Good luck with Brock Purdy. You better be able, like, who's the backup to McCaffrey? Isaiah Guerendo?
Guerendo.
Like, he better be the second coming of Raheem Mostert, for you to be viable. Because I think you're putting your eggs in that basket this year.
It's not a great offensive line outside of Trent Williams, who's 37.
He's a hamstring in training camp from just being like, I think I'm good this year, guys. I'm just going to sneak into the IR and collect a paycheck.
One of the people in response to the 49ers fans unearthing our rankings was like, oh, and you're just going to say that Brock Purdy isn't good without the Avengers. It's like, yeah, I'm going to say that. I mean, he hasn't proven me that he is.
It was the best skill group of my adult life. Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, the best left tackle, and the MVP at running back.
Right.
That's just a bet. You're not going to get better than that. And they're all gone or they're all old. McCaffrey's done. His legs are toast. Both receivers are gone. Ayuk's not playing at a high level this year. Trent Williams is basically retired. It's just like, oh, but Purdy and his 20 touchdowns last year. I mean, like, the Niners, just say it out loud, they got last by a large margin in the NFC West last year. They were last. And this offseason, they got dramatically worse. And it's like, well, let's talk ourselves into Alfred Collins in the second round. And I like Mykel Williams. And he'll probably end up being a good player. It'll probably coincide with Nick Bosa's going downhill. I don't think they're going to be dominant together. So for me, it's like come on this show and debate whether you feel like the Cardinals are trending down and make a case for it. You can't. You can make a case against their history, which of course will entertain.
Right.
I can sit here, and we have done this position group by position group. The Niners roster has deteriorated to the point where you're going off of Madden stats from 2-3 years ago.
No.
It's not real life.
No, you got something for us before we get out of here?
Oh, yeah. I found some proof on the latest news on Travis Kelce. Here it is.
That sign can't stop me because I can't read.
Is there a rumor going around he can't read?
Yes, I think was it Travis Kelce himself that said
he's hosting SNL. Was that what it was?
Yeah. Yep.
Said I struggled on SNL because can't read very well.
Yikes. Hey, that's unfortunate. That's too bad.
Good luck. Taylor Swift's himbo.
Good luck with that. I liked what I saw I thought it was pretty cool what they did with Taylor Swift, like surprising people at tight end U. Did you guys talk about that? That was pretty cool. Where like at tight end U, it's like Tip and his wife and everybody's there and they're hanging out. And then like Taylor Swift comes out and plays a concert. That's pretty awesome. That
is sweet. That is sweet. And it's weird to see those like two things merged together.
If you don't ask Tip Ryman about that, the next time he has availability, I'm going to be upset.
How still won't talk to me because I'm friends with you.
Okay, sorry about that. We're all friends here. 243 on a lowly Wednesday in the offseason. I appreciate all of you. It's great to be back. Smash hammer, if you would, that like button. We got a show mañana before the big holiday weekend, Bo Brack.
That's right. And our preview series continues. We're going to be looking at another position group. And then, we're going to send you off into your holiday weekend. celebrating Independence Day on Friday. Can't wait. We'll see if Johnny's got an even louder shirt tomorrow. You got something in
How
your
about
bag?
shirtless? What do you think? I got nothing.
Yeah, you got your tank. You got your Stars and Stripes tank that you got ready for this weekend? Probably.
I've got I might have to wear my kids' clothes at some point because I'm out of laundry. And that's a tough scene when you're like, hey, honey, we're going to have some clean clothes tomorrow. And then just, she's slumming it on the airplane with the kids. It's just not a place you want to be. So your boy might be doing his own laundry, and that's okay. I'm man enough I can do my own laundry.
Yeah, okay, you're grown up.
I'm a big boy. That's right. Absolutely. Everybody do us a favor. Drop a like on this video. Subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. We are barreling toward 50,000 subscribers. Help get us there before the start of the NFL season. Wall-to-wall coverage of what's going on with the Phoenix Suns. Are they really committing to the rebuild, or is Chris Paul about to become a Phoenix Sun once again? Again, drop a like on this video. Great to be back with my crew, the fellas. Bo Brack, Noah, great to see you, my guys. Great to see everybody in the chat. Thanks for your super chats. We're back manana. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.